speaking of progress or the lack thereof, the onto the NHL news. The Calgary
What?
Flames
Jeez.
have broken your
Oh,
boy,
I'm so
and
mad.
Jacob Markstrom has regressed, or at least appears to have regressed to his pre Ian Clark days of goaltending. I personally think he's probably due for a regression to what he was last year, where his save percentage is unreal. He's obviously dealing with a Calgary Flames team that is, as we've spoken about at length on this program, about how the Calgary Flames appear to be checked out and aren't really trying and kind of letting David Riddick and Jacob Markstrom just get fed to the Wolves. I don't want to go into it for too long, but I think he's going to probably bounce back. And it might not be without Ian Clark, but at the end of this year, when Ian Clark is up for a contract renewal, I'm sure the Calgary Flames are going to come calling, and I'm sure he'll have a bounce back some way, somehow. But post injury, whatever injury it was that he took on from the Flames that kind of kept him out for a bit and has him with like an 844 save percentage or something like that in his last 11 games since coming back from injury. Hasn't been good. So Lachlan, your thoughts on your former boy?
I'm going to tell you right now, we need to stop letting the Calgary Flames get a hold of decent goalies because they wreck them every single time. Like, I am, every
Yeah,
time during, like, how many times has this franchise picked up a goalie who was, by all accounts, decent before he got there, or had a really good year, like a really couple good years before they got to Calgary, and then immediately just get roasted over the spit. Like Brian Elliott, I think, had a really good year in St. Louis the season before, gets to Calgary, immediately just gets washed. Mike
yeah.
Smith had been doing okay by all accounts before he got to Calgary, and then he got burnt to a crisp.
I
David Riddick
remember
was fine at points, and
I
now
remember
he's
when
not great either.
I remember when the Flames picked up Mike Smith, and I said, "Oh, the Flames are actually going to be trying to be a team this year," and I thought that was a great pickup. And then
Every year they do
Flames
it.
gonna flame. It's just
This
what
is
can
the
you say
first
about it,
time.
really?
This is the first time they've given serious, like term and money to a goalie to get it done. And
Yeah,
I remember thinking at the time, like, if they get the right coaching, he will do great. He will be as good. And I remember
and then
seeing
they got the
people.
Sutter.
Well, yes, and Jeff Ward as well. Like, mostly I'm talking goalie coaching, but I mean, yes, that's not
Yeah,
help. Well, because you know what, the same mentality exists that existed with the last goaltenders, which is, hey, this is a good goalie. We're gonna burn them to the ground
yeah.
by playing them way too much when they have bad games. Leaving them in, or play, or just destroying their confidence in the ways that whenever they have poor games, or just
Yeah.
and get, or they get hurt or something. And
What was that
I'm seeing
game the other day where he let in 7 goals and then Sutter after the
Sutter left
fact
him
was like,
in.
I had no intention of pulling him out, and you're like, but but why?
And then even in the last game, he got pulled in the last game. Markstrom got pulled in the
Yeah.
last game. It was 4-1. I think Darryl Sutter said something where he knew by like the second period, or like midway through the second period, that he was gonna pull him
Yeah.
and didn't. And I'm thinking, like,
Yeah.
what, or he did, like, he knew he was gonna, and like he waited until the third to put David Riddick in, and I'm like, why
He
would
didn't
you
want
do
it.
that
He didn't want to embarrass him in front of the crowd.
in front of the goddamn crowd? Like, hey,
The
you know what,
cardboard cutouts. Yeah.
literally, hey, commercial break. That's when you, if that's when you pull him out. Why would you leave him in for another period and then send in Riddick? Like, that's terrible planning. And I mean, this whole team is just like, the whole Flames team is a mess. I
Yeah.
mean, there was a whole. Did you see the quote Darryl Sutter had about Johnny Gaudreau's 500th NHL game?
Yeah.
What was it?
He's
It was like, he should have
I
more
hope he shows
energy.
more effort than he did in his 499th game. And it's just like, oh
As
my
you can
god.
tell, things are. I mean, as you can tell, things are going fantastic
I
in
I
Calgary.
just we don't even have enough time to go over like the Sutter thing because it's kind of like when we talked in our second episode or first episode about how Patrick Laine is not going to be a fit with Tortorella and it's a disaster waiting to happen. Uh I don't know how the Flames thought like what this core needed was Darryl Sutter, a guy who in his last year with the LA Kings was locked out and barricaded from the locker room because nobody wanted to deal with him anymore.
Yeah.
Like,
But
how
but
did
you know
you
what?
think this would work?
Yeah, it's not even only that, because here's like this is a quote. This is a Johnny Gaudreau quote, because somebody asked him about it on the in the
Yeah,
Calgary
it's a
Sun.
good quote.
Yeah, he's like, I heard it, didn't think much of it, Gaudreau said when being asked post-game about the sharp critique from his coach. I've been playing hockey for 24, 25 years now, and I know when I haven't played well, and I know when I have played well, which is a just crazy thing to say about your coach, about your coach, which I mean, here's like, we've had all the conversation before where, hey, are the Flames maybe coach killers, specifically that first generation of him and Monahan? That kind of told me everything I need to know, where it's, hey, these guys do not listen to their coaches, so no one you bring in is going to fix
These guys don't respect authority
at
because the
all.
coach questioned their work ethic instead of being like, I'll prove him wrong. It was, I know when I have a bad game. It's like,
yeah, which is like, it just tells you everything you need to know about those players, and as well as how this is not going to work with that coaching staff at all, who they've already given a 3-year contract to. So, oops. Needless to say, the way the Flames are handling everything, it just seems like they're doing everything so poorly. I said this year, and I think I said this publicly on Twitter, that I am like 99% sure the Canucks are going to finish ahead of them in the standings by a healthy margin.
For sure.
They're clearly they're not the Canucks aren't a good team, but they're clearly right now a more cohesive unit than what Calgary has.
I think the Canucks are probably going to end up 5th in the division and miss the playoffs by just like a small margin. That's my guess at this point. And you know what?
Which this year is fine, because you know what? Like,
it's not fine that you're wasting the final year of Elias and Quinn's ELCs. But honestly, if the way they started, like, there was just no coming back in the first place, and it's become like a let's see what you got in all your prospects type of season now.
And even if you're like bad, this isn't like a year where you would want to tank or something, because obviously when it comes to like the draft, like there is
we talked about this in our last episode, right?
But right, and this is, you know, so it doesn't really matter where you finish at this point. Like, this is very much find every way you can to get your players confidence going into next year. You especially give your younger guys a look. And I have no doubt Calgary is cooked. This is 5 teams. There were only 5 teams left here.